If you're like me, you're probably amazed at the number of videos you find on YouTube in which you see geniuses claiming to know upwards of 10 languages, even 20 languages, when there is actually a very simple, rational argument against it. So I propose we talk about this, and I'll start by sharing with you my thoughts on what's really happening, and perhaps this will make you feel better about your own learning. There are no people walking around knowing 10 languages. It doesn't exist, whether they're geniuses on the autism spectrum, whether they have savant brains, or whether they're just people building their personal brand. What is really happening is that there are people who can construct sentences to varying degrees in 10 languages or more. There is a big difference. There is a massive difference. Constructing sentences in 10 languages, or 20 or 30 or 40, does not mean that you are functional in those languages. And this is backed up by the way linguistics looks at language competence. It's not just my opinion. So typically real competence includes pragmatics, what is appropriate to say here, now, according to that situation or to the person you're speaking to, sociolinguistic awareness, register control, very important, formal, informal, aggressive, ironic, dismissive, polite, and all these, and the cultural expectations that are embedded in the language. And of course, real-time reaction to unpredictable social input, as I'll demonstrate in a second. The problem with polyglots or hyperpolyglots is that there is no proper word to describe what they're actually doing. So they have both learnt and not learnt at the same time. And we lack a precise word to actually describe what they're doing. So it's neither true ignorance or true competence. They're sort of an in-between state. And we don't have a proper label for it. So when a person on YouTube hears them speak in Bulgarian, well, the viewer only has two choices. They know Bulgarian, or they don't know Bulgarian, and usually it's, well, I heard them, they speak Bulgarian, therefore they know Bulgarian. I heard them, they speak it, yeah, but they're performing phrases if you want. They don't really know Bulgarian, they're performing phrases. This alone doesn't give you a grade. I think the one final argument against polyglottism or hyperpolyglotism will always be time. It will always be the most solid argument against it because there isn't the time or even the learning structure to expose yourself to all these languages and know them in such a way that you can truly be functional in them. As we all know, life is made up of plenty of social situations that are matched with the proper use of language. So you have to read those social situations in a natural way in order for the other person or persons to be able to function with you. There's an exchange according to the social situation. So this exchange goes far beyond building sentences in 10 languages. When would a polyglot ever have the time or even find the structure to know how to do this? How would they have learnt this? And I can do a quick demo. Social situation number 1. A hyper-excited lunatic walks up to the polyglot, looks at their car and says, « Ouah, quelle caisse, vieux, avec ça tu montes à du 200 sur l'autoroute sans problème, vieux, tu tires dedans, quoi. Moi j'ai une Golf, hein, j'ai complètement refaite, hein, quoi. Et tes jantes, t'as fait ça toi-même ou quoi ?» As we can see here, we're no longer on the level of phrase building, because it's one thing to speak quietly in an interview with the interviewer and exchange sentences, everyone taking their turn, but it's another to quieten down the guy's enthusiasm, the lunatic's enthusiasm, for him to walk off and hopefully not get into a fight by offending him. Social situation number 2, a polyglot is sitting at the theatre waiting for the play to start. A person sits down behind them and says, Ouf, pour une fois j'arrive à temps, j'arrive avant que ça commence. What's the most natural way to answer that? What do you say? How do you maintain the tone of a polite conversation or even shut down the conversation because you might not want to speak to the person? What if the person next to the polyglot suddenly says, Dites, c'est pas que je vous aime pas, mais j'ai repéré un ami là-bas, je vais plutôt aller m'asseoir à côté de lui. What do you say? How do you answer that? What type of remark was that? Was it rude? Was it silly? Was it uneducated? I could go on forever, literally illustrating so many situations that require a precise use of the language. You just wouldn't have had the time to expose yourself to all of them in multiple languages. For French or English alone, there would be hundreds. What's the likelihood that the polyglot can react to all those situations in Finnish, in Bulgarian, in Mandarin and all the rest. When and where would they have learnt this? So yes, polyglots can build sentences to varying degrees in 10 or more languages, but we should never confuse this with knowing those languages. I'm talking about being socially competent in those 10 languages, which after all is the function of language. Thanks for watching. My name is Chris.